Welcome to History class. Today's video will be about the prehistory of Siberia and the early history of this vast region of Northern Asia until it was conquered by Russians. Siberia is characterized by a great deal of variety in climate, vegetation and landscape. In the west, Siberia is bordered by the Ural Mountains. From there, the West Siberian lowlands extend to the east, all the way to the river Yenisei. Beyond these are the Central Siberian highlands, which are bordered on the east by the basin of the Lena River. Beyond that are the Northeast Siberian highlands. Siberia is bordered on the south by a rough chain of mountains, and to the southwest by the hills of the Kazakh border. The climate in Siberia is very variable. Yakutia, northeast of the Lena, is among the coldest places on Earth, but every year temperatures may vary for more than 50 degrees Celsius, from as low as minus 50 degrees Celsius in winter to over plus 20 degrees Celsius in summer. The rainfall is very low, this being true of the southwest as well, where steppes, deserts and semi-deserts border on one another. Agriculture is only possible in Siberia without artificial irrigation today between 50 and 60 degrees north. The climatic situation is responsible for the different biomes of the region. In the northernmost section, there is tundra with minimal vegetation. The largest part of Siberia, aside from the mountainous regions, is taiga, northern coniferous forests. In the southwest, this becomes forested steppe, and even further south, it transitions to grass steppes and the Central Asian desert. Finds from the Lower Paleolithic appear to be attested between East Kazakhstan and Altai. In the Upper Paleolithic, by contrast, most remains are found in the Urals, where among other things, rock carvings depicting mammoths are found in Altai, on the Upper Yenisei and west of Lake Baikal. Some remains, around 25,000 years old, were found on the shore of the Laptev Sea, north of the Arctic Circle. The remains of huts have been found in the settlement of Malta near Irkutsk. Sculptures of animals and women, Venus figurines recall the European Upper Paleolithic. The Siberian Paleolithic continues well into the European Mesolithic. In the post-glacial period, the taiga developed. Microliths, which are common elsewhere, have not been found. In North Asia, the Neolithic, which was between 5500 and 3400 BC, is mostly a chronological term, since there is no evidence for agriculture or even pastoralism in Siberia during the Central European Neolithic. However, the Neolithic cultures of North Asia are distinguished from the preceding Mesolithic cultures and far more visible as a result of the introduction of pottery. Southwest Siberia reached a Neolithic cultural level during the Chalcolithic, which began here towards the end of the 4th millennium BC, which roughly coincided with the introduction of copper working. In the northern and eastern regions, there is no detectable change. In the second half of the 3rd millennium BC, bronze working reached the cultures of Western Siberia. Chalcolithic groups in the eastern Ural foothills developed the so-called Andronovo culture, which took various local forms. The settlements of Arkheim, Olgino and Sintashta are particularly notable as the earliest evidence for the urbanization in Siberia. In the valleys of the Ob and Irtysh, the same ceramic cultures attested there during the Neolithic continue. The changes in the Baikal region and Yakutia were very slight. In the Middle Bronze Age, between 1800 and 1500 BC, the West Siberian Andronovo culture expanded significantly to the east and even reached the Yenisei Valley. In all the local forms of the Andronovo culture, homogeneous ceramics are found, which also extended to the cultures on the Ob. Here, however, unique Neolithic ceramic traditions were maintained as well. With the beginning of the Late Bronze Age between 1500 and 800 BC, crucial cultural developments took place in southern Siberia. The Andronovo culture dissolved and its southern successors produced an entirely new form of pottery, with bulbous ornamental elements. At the same time, the southern cultures also developed new forms of bronze working, probably as a result of influence from the southeast. These changes were especially significant in the Baikal region. There, the Chalcolithic material culture, which had continued up to this time, was replaced by a bronze-working pastoralist culture. There and in Yakutsia, bronze was used as a material for the first time only at this point. The cultural continuity on the Ob continued in the first millennium BC, as the Iron Age began in Siberia. The local ceramic style continues there even in this period. A much larger break occurred in the Central Asian steppe. The sedentary, predominantly pastoralist society of the Late Bronze Age is replaced by a mobile horse nomads, which will continue to dominate this region until modern times. The mobility, which the new cultural form enabled, unleashed a powerful dynamic, since from now on the people of Central Asia were able to move across the steppe in great numbers. The neighboring sedentary cultures were also affected by this development. Ancient China was threatened by the Xiongnu and their neighbors. The ancient states of modern Iran were opposed by the Massagets and Sakas, and the Roman Empire eventually was confronted by the Huns. The social changes are clearly indicated in the archaeological finds. Settlements are no longer found, members of the new elite were buried in richly furnished kurgans, and completely new forms of art developed. In the damper steppes to the north, the sedentary pastoralist culture of the Late Bronze Age developed under the influence of the material culture of the nomads. Proto-urban settlements like Chicha formed the late Irmen culture in West Siberia and the settlements in the north of the Xiongnu cultural area. In many places, the transition to later periods remains problematic due to the lack of archaeological evidence. Nevertheless, some generalizations are still possible. In the Central Asian steppes, Turkic groups become detectable sometime in the 5th century. Over the following centuries, they expand to the north and west until eventually they brought the whole of Southern Siberia under their control. The area further north, where the speakers of Uralic and Paleo-Siberian languages were located, is still poorly known. The Mongols had long maintained relations with the people of the Siberian forest. While the tribes around Lake Baikal were Mongol-speaking, those to the west spoke Turkic, Samoyedic or Yeniseian languages. By 1206, Genghis Khan had conquered all Mongol and Turkic tribes in Mongolia and Southern Siberia. Western Siberia came under the Golden Horde. The descendants of Orda Khan, the eldest son of Jochi, directly ruled the area. In the swamps of Western Siberia, dog-sled yam stations were set up to facilitate collection of tribute. After the Yuan dynasty army under Kubilai's Kipchak general Tutuh reoccupied the Kyrgyz lands in 1293, they began controlling from there large portions of Central and Eastern Siberia. With the breakup of the Golden Horde late in the 15th century, the Khanate of Sibir was founded with its center at Tyumen. In the beginning of the 16th century, Tatar fugitives from Turkestan subdued the loosely associated tribes inhabiting the lowlands to the east of the Ural Mountains. Agriculturists, merchants, tanners, and Muslim clerics were brought from Turkestan, and small principalities appeared on the Irtysh and the Ob rivers. The next clear break in the history of Siberia is the Russian expansion into the east, which began in the late 15th century and only concluded in the 19th century. This process marks the beginning of modernity in Siberia.